Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I know it's been a little bit. I did want to get another video out there. So today we are going to cover a Samba file share, pretty much allowing you to set up a file share in your home lab, allowing you to transfer files between the different machines that you may have, whether that be physical or virtual. I will cover everything from what you need to install and all the steps in between. But with that being said, I did want to highlight my website that I had created probably like last year, I believe. It is just another way for you to get some material that I've been putting out there. It also may be easier for you to either read or even copy and paste some of the commands that we are going to cover today. And that's it. So let's get started. Alright, so the very first step that we will want to cover is installing Samba. It's pretty straightforward. Obviously, just go ahead and run sudo apt-get install Samba depending on the distribution that you are using. I already have it installed, so we don't need to go over that. After it is installed, you're going to want to create a Samba user. With that being said, the Samba user must already be a user in the Linux machine. So for instance, if we go ahead and run the Samba password command and make up one, we'll do Chris. I messed that up. We'll just make it an easier password. So as you can see, it says failed to add entry for user Chris. So in order to add Chris to the machine, we're just going to run user add Chris. Sorry, we obviously need to use the right permission. And there we go. So now if we were to run that same command, we'll set the password 1234, and now we have added the user Chris. So for the next step, we will want to create the actual directory that we are going to later use as a mounting point. So we'll go ahead and just we'll create it in the mount directory. So we'll just say sudo, we'll do YouTube share. Okay, and then now we are going to add this share to the configuration file, which is found in the SMB .conf, and this is the directory. The one at the bottom right here is the one that we used in the instructional post on my website. So we'll go ahead and just add another one right below that, and we're going to say YouTube share. The YouTube share got its path. The valid users that we are going to assign to this share is going to be Chris. And then obviously we want the user to be able to write and read and everything else. So we'll go ahead and put that to no. Write and quit. So as always, after making any changes to any configuration file, it's always a good idea to go ahead and restart that service. So we'll just go ahead and restart it. SMBD. Perfect. So the next step is optional depending on what you have set up in your environment. So for instance, if you do have UFW installed, a firewall installed, make sure that you go ahead and allow this protocol to be passed through the firewall. So we'll go ahead and run sudo UFW allow Samba. It's skipping because it already exists. Obviously, I just want to show you what you would use. And then if you want to verify, you go ahead and run sudo UFW status. Sorry, it is not enabled at this time. And then we'll run status, and those are the two protocols that are now allowed. Another important step that you must not forget is you want to set the correct permissions for the directory that we are going to later mount or share. So for those that are not familiar with what I'm trying to say, so this is the directory that we are going to later mount, the YouTube share. As you can see right now, it is read, write, execute, read, write, or then it's just read blank, execute, and then read blank, execute. So right now this is saying that the user root has read, write, and execute, whereas, or the same thing for the group has read and execute, and everyone else has read and execute. So what we want is we want to set it to nobody and nobody, and then we want to set read, write, and execute for everybody. So to do that, we can just go ahead and run chmod 777 and then share. Then we'll run long list again, and as you can see now, we have the correct permission set, but now we have to change the ownership. So to do that, you're just going to go ahead and run the chown command, and then nobody, no group, and obviously you want to specify the directory, and then run it again, and then there we go. Alright, so now I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm going to zoom in on the terminal session on the remote machine that we are going to use, hopefully allowing you to see the commands better that I'm going to run, giving us access to that file share that we had just created. So with that being said, on the remote machine, you will want to make sure that you install 2 services. The first being the SMB Client. It's not necessarily used or necessary for this lab, but I'm just going to walk you through on how to use that. And then we are also going to use this utility right here. This will allow us to permanently or persistently map the file share. As you can see, I already have it installed again, so that's that. So the first thing that we want to walk through is going to be using SMB Client. So let's go ahead and run a -L option on the server with the user that we had created, which is Chris. Wrong password. So as you can see here, this is the YouTube share that we had just created earlier. Now if we want to jump into that, we just get rid of the -L option, and let's go ahead and place that here. There we go. Now you can run all these different commands and giving you access to the files inside of the file share. Alright, now that we have access, this is only temporary access. We obviously don't want to use it for this lab. What we want to do is create a mounting point, allowing us to persistently mount this through reboot or restarts or anything like that, giving us access at all times. So we're going to exit out of there. We'll clear the screen. So the next thing that we want to do is obviously create a mounting point, like I just said. So we'll go ahead and make a directory in mount, and we'll name it the same. Then the next thing that we want to do is create a credentials file. This will pretty much contain the username and password along with the domain name, which will be used within another file that will access the mounting point. It's just better to show you. Alright, so this file could be created anywhere, but we will create it in the home directory. Or it's not a directory, I'm sorry, but it's a file. So we're going to just do sudo, and then we're going to hide it with the period. And we're just going to say SMB cred YouTube. And then we'll go ahead and edit that file. Then in this file, you want to specify the username first, and we're going to say Chris, then the password, which in this case is 1234, and the domain. Alright, and then another thing to do, since we are storing credentials inside of a file, it is a safe practice to go ahead and change the permissions of this file to only read only for the user. So that would be chmod 600 I always forget that. So now if we went and did we could see here, I could find it. So right here, as you can see, the only person that has read and write, similar to this one that we had did in the website write up, is going to be the root user of this machine. Alright, so the last step that we have to do is go ahead and edit the fstab file. It's pretty much going to be the same thing as listed above, or the one that I'm on right now. So we'll just go ahead and create another comment. We're going to say YouTube share. It's always a good idea to put comments to pretty much describe what you're doing, so when you come back to it later, you go ahead and edit that. So we're going to use the IP address for the machine that has the file share, and then we're going to use YouTube share. The next line or directory is referring to the directory that we are going to mount it on the local machine, which is mount YouTube share sys. And then we're going to specify the credentials file, which was in home cache. I think it was SMB. I think it was the same thing. I think I have to go back, but SMB cred 0 and 0. Let me just verify real quick that that is correct. Alright, so that is correct. I did just verify that that was the correct file or directory path for that file. Alright, so now all we have to do is run the mount command. So go ahead and write quit sudo mount -a, and now if we were to go into the directory, and let's go ahead and touch a file. Now if we go into the host machine here, and let's go into YouTube share, we should see test file, and there we go. Awesome. I think we hit my goal today of doing a video under 10 minutes, giving as much instruction as possible to give you what we were going after, which was creating a Samba share. Again, allowing you to transfer files between the different machines in your network, which has definitely helped me over the last year and a half when I started doing this whole home lab thing. For the longest time, I was using a Python module to set up pretty much an HTTP server and then transferring files that way, but this is a more permanent solution. And yeah, so with that being said, I hope you were able to take something away. Please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, or even a comment, just showing some support. I do enjoy doing these videos, so regardless whether you like it or not, I probably will continue doing so. But as always, never stop learning.